Hi, everybody. I am streaming from London. We are doing the second of the day because I was on a plane and woke up to crazy people messages. Yeah, wow. Um, by the way, if anyone missed Tone's video this morning, epic. So this is going to be great that it's a second stream. So let's get right back into it. Tone, geez.
Hey,
Oh my God.
hey. So this morning was crazy. I was a little frustrated. I was stuck at the airport. I had to go to the airport at 5 a.m. only to find out my flight was canceled. Actually, I should have known my flight was canceled. Apparently, there was an email that that if only I would have read, I could have, and in that email, I actually had to tell them that I accept a new flight that is taking place tomorrow, which I didn't do because I didn't see the email, which is really frustrating. That's why I had to spend like all morning dealing with like airlines and stuff. But I think I got the flight tomorrow morning, but unfortunately that means I have to wake up at 5 a.m. again tomorrow to make it to the airport for my 7:30 a.m. flight. It really sucks. But like now that I'm back in Turkey, I was able to get a haircut and still haven't gotten much sleep, but we do have to talk about the markets. All right.
Well,
We're
Tone,
gonna go
to put you
yeah.
on the spot, if I did hear you correctly, even though I was very, very jet lagged this morning, and then I'll put myself on mute. You did say that you only got 2 hours of sleep because you went out drinking last night and then had to make it for a 5 a.m. flight. So a little bit maybe on your, you can blame me a little for not checking.
Yeah, no. I have one night in Istanbul. What am I supposed to do? I'm anticipating getting to Malta and getting some and sleeping on the plane, right? But like that clearly didn't happen. So instead of rest, but now tonight's going to be interesting. I think I'm just going to go to a Turkish bathhouse right after this.
Nice.
And then,
all right, let's check this out, especially in light of that apparently some reports, especially Bloomberg, are saying that this is an April Fool's joke. So let's see for all you people that are super excited.
All right, let's head over to screen share.
And I'm going to put myself on mute. Everybody, I am definitely watching for your questions today.
Yeah, so I'm actually, shit, hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I need to stop screen share for a minute. I have to change one thing. Okay. All right, now let's go back to screen share. Okay, so after I got off that stream, there was a couple of things that we did. First of all, we actually sold the Bitcoin from the ticket sales for understanding Bitcoin. We took the exit, so that's great. Didn't want to take a chance with ticket sales. Thank God, we just made an extra, 20%. Gets us closer to break even. Probably still won't get break even, but definitely the price speculation definitely helped. Holding out, selling that Bitcoin from the ticket sales. I also put in an exit for my GBTC position, which is now nicely in the money. Finally, it's about freaking time. So I am waiting for 20 more minutes to see how GBTC actually opens. I'm curious if there's going to be a run on GBTC shooting the premium up, which allows me to exit. Right now, my exit is a little bit too high to actually get out in the pre-market. My exit is higher than that. So I want to see a little bit of pop on GBTC at the open, which is going to be independent. I'm not going to show you guys my retirement account, but yeah, so I'll be looking for that as well. And of course, I'm looking for S&P. Oh, Tyler's here. And of course, I am looking for S&P at market open as well. So this is going to be a great video. We are going to keep it to under an hour and then go from there. Hey, Tyler, want to drop screen share first?
Hey, are you wearing the same colored dress underneath?
Oh,
you're
Tyler,
on mute,
no.
Ty?
Oh, I think I hear something.
Ty? I don't hear yet.
Maybe not. No. Nope.
Not quite yet, Ty. We'll let you know.
Audio.
Joan, I have my Genesis block hoodie. I think, is that the one you're wearing or the HODL?
We're in the HODL.
So excited for Malta. Oh my God.
Hi,
Ty will
everybody.
let you know when there. Hey Ty. Hey partner.
Hey, Tone, great show last night. I happened to wake up right when you were starting it. I loved it.
Oh yeah, no, it was this morning for me. I've gotten a haircut since then, and I got maybe an extra hour of sleep, so that's good. Yeah, other than that, just been dealing with
Yeah, Ty.
airlines, and we sold the Bitcoin from ticket sales.
Good.
Or took advantage of the prices, so that was taken care of. And
Excellent.
am I coming in on a lag? Am I coming in okay?
Yeah,
No,
you sound good.
you sound good.
Okay.
This is gonna be fun because Ty, of course, you can imagine how many people are saying that hyperwave is dead. We're gonna lose our bet.
And I wanna talk about your tweet as well. So this is
And
this is
Tone
gonna be
was just talking about GBTC. Well, talking about.
Yeah, and I put in an exit on GBTC. It's a little generous. It's somewhat generous above where it's trading at right now in the pre-market. I would love to see, a bit of a run, or I don't know, is GBTC shortable? Because I don't know, because I traded my retirement account, so I personally can't short it. But do you know if it's shortable in traditional regular accounts?
Yeah, in regular accounts, you can short it.
Good. So that means there could be a short squeeze within GBTC, shooting the premium up once the market opens.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a pretty generous exit set up. I'm going to be watching it. I'm not going to screen share that. Like, I'm looking at my trading account right now on my screen, but you guys are seeing the Bitcoin chart. So I'll be keeping an eye on that in 15 minutes, along with the S&P. It's just so much going on. Let's quickly go through Bitcoin one more time. So this chart won't update till 8 p.m. tonight, but it will pop right into 5,100. And it's actually interesting, like somebody pointed this out. I think it was as a comment to my video, actually. So if I go to my own YouTube channel, wait, how do I go to my YouTube channel? Right there. If I go to my own YouTube channel and I go back like over a month, so somebody pointed to this video. Oh, I have to move this out of the way here. Hold on. Show more. And then more. There we go. So right here, there was a video, this one, and look at the title. If it's only 22 minutes, but if you look at the title, 15,000 views, price above 41.50, is the $5,100 bull trap still incoming? So that was from February 23rd. And then the next day we dumped like $200 or $300. But yeah, it's interesting that and someone commented 3 hours ago that 5,100 was hit exactly.
Yeah,
So
no, that was an amazing call, particularly the 5,100, only because there's no obvious resistance there. You had drawn that blue line in, and we got right up to it, but we cut right through one of the moving averages, which I thought it would have a lot of trouble doing. So that turned out to be a great call. The big question now, of course, on everybody's mind is what's next. And for me, what next is starting back down again, and then dropping back below that 4,000 to 4,200 area. But we'll just have to wait and see. The momentum right now is to the upside, and we'll just have to see what happens. It's so
all right.
weird,
Yeah,
so weird that it's happening right at the same time that I've got all of my indicators saying it's time to be 100% back in the U.S. stock market, which we did yesterday. We told all of our clients all cash should be put into back into the stock market. And then the same night, which happened to be my birthday, yesterday, we get this huge move in Bitcoin. So it's been a wild 24 hours.
Oh, wait, you just had your birthday?
Yeah, yesterday, April 1st.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were right.
Yeah,
No,
it
it
was
was your birthday.
the big 7-0.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Tyler is 70. Wow. Doing great, actually. Very impressed. Okay. So let me just begin off the bat. Right now, Bitcoin is in an absolute no trade zone. You cannot. Oh, did we lose Tyler? What happened?
We lost Ty. He'll be back.
Are you still with us? I think he just turned off his camera. Or his camera got disconnected. So right now, Bitcoin is in, but Tyler, say something if you're still like with us.
Yeah, I'm still here if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can still hear you. But anytime, I mean, you don't have to keep your camera on, that's fine. So right now, Bitcoin is in an absolute no trade zone. All the trading, like there was a time, I mean, you could have gone long at any time over the last few weeks, and you could have gone short around that $5,000 mark. But this morning, like when I did that video, there was a short on the table.
Yeah.
At the moment, there is absolutely no trade. You need to wait and see if the weekly chart is going to close above 5,000 or below this moving average. If Bitcoin closes below this moving average on a weekly scale, then I would be absolutely certain that the bull trap is in and we go lower. If we close above 5,000 this week, I will expect higher prices up to the next level, which is the $5,600 area, maybe as high as 6,000. So on a weekly scale, this is it. It's a no trade zone right now. Now you have to wait till the week ends. The daily chart is also on a no trade zone. The daily chart, you have to wait and see if you're going to close above or below this moving average right here, currently sitting at 4,600. The 4615 is your like up and down Mendoza line, I guess. And right now, all signs are pointing to a pullback back to 4,200. Now, it doesn't have to be instant. This could take several weeks to form. And now, if we stay above the $4,800 area, basically slightly above where we are now, then we can still get a perfected 9 on a daily by still swinging higher than 5,100 sometime this week, creating that okay, I'm not sure. Are you texting me? Should I be looking at that or?
Someone just asked while you're talking, what's the weekly EMA that you're indicating and talking about right
now? They're not. You can see my triple moving average forecast. They're not exponential. They're simple. And you're looking at right there. It's the 50, the 128, and the 200. So the blue line is the 200. It's probably better that if there's a question, just interrupt us, like on mute, interrupt us, and just ask it. It'd probably be more efficient. This is the 200-day moving average, which is critical. And right now, on the current candle, is a no trade zone the rest of the day. You just have to wait and see because you'll be guessing what's going to happen. It's a no trade candle. The 12-hour chart is also a no trade candle. That was a huge 4 candle. And now you're kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. You're overextended. On a 5, it's a 5 of 9, but your 9 could be, well, the 9 would need to be higher than a 5. But basically, it's a no trade zone all over the place. The 4-hour chart is on a combo 13. And again, it might have just topped on a sequential 13 at the high. This 3 is, I don't think it's above the 2. The high here is 48.30.20, and here it's 48.29.90. So you are not higher than the 2. You would need a higher high coming in here. The 4-hour chart is not looking interesting to me. And the 1-hour chart, if it shows up, and then we'll get, oh, there it is. The 1-hour chart is kind of flat, but we're running into the moving average, which has just flattened out. So that's very, very interesting as I'm refreshing this chart. Let me see here. Right, so here's the 1 hour chart. Now, I do want to, Tyler, what is your take on everything I said? And then I want to revisit the short trade that I talked about this morning.
Yeah, that's the 10-minute chart you're showing right now.
Yeah, sorry, it's a 10-minute chart. Let's go back through. Here's the hourly chart. The hourly chart is the only one that's actually borderline bullish, guys. We finally hit the sequential 13 on the hourly chart, and we have another sequential incoming. We're on a green 6. If this trades up a little bit, like one more tick higher, and this becomes a green 7, so a 9's coming in a couple of hours, and this kind of shape is actually bullish to me because we're having higher closing highs. So the hourly chart is the only bullish chart here. Tyler, what are your thoughts on everything I just said so far?
Well, I agree in general, but I think that this consolidation we're seeing since the peak is impressive from a bullish point of view. It's way too early to make that call, but now that we've blown through that 4,000 to 4,200 range, I don't see a whole lot of overhead resistance all the way back up to the 5,800 to 6,000, in which I think it's massive resistance. I think it's very impressive that we were able to cut through all the moving averages so easily. Now that can be reversed by the end of today. And my assumption is, because I'm still very bearish, my assumption is we'll do that. But I think on that daily chart, we need to close very close to the 200-day moving average and quickly get back below it. I'd like it to get rejected very quickly as a bear. If we stay above that 200-day moving average on a closing daily basis by tonight, I think it could be setting up for something that could take us higher. So I agree with you that everything is neutral right now except the hourly chart. It's going to be one of the most fascinating days I've seen in a long time, not only for the cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, but also for the U.S. Stock market, as well as a number of other markets around the world that we'll get to in just a second. But on this 1 hourly chart, I'd like, as a bear, I'd like to get to the 9 very quickly and then start a correction back down and then have it spread to the 4 hour and the 12 hour and the daily, so that by the end of the day today, we are considerably lower. Right now, I'm impressed with whoever it was that pumped that amount of money in that short period of time. Now, Leah sent me an article saying that it started out as an April Fool joke, and it triggered a lot of short sales yesterday. And it could be that simple. When you take a look at the volume, it was unbelievably impressive going into the peak, but it was over very, very quickly. So I've got a lot of thoughts. By the end of the day today, we should take another look at all of this.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm actually watching this. I would love to have this as a green 7 and then tick up a little bit more to give us that 9 in a couple of hours. That would be ideal. Okay. Now, I do want to get to your to longer. So let's zoom in on a 10-minute chart. I want to talk about this. So when I did the video this morning, again, this is at the airport, frustrated with flights and sleep deprived, partially due to my own doing, as Leah nicely pointed out. I see her. So the short trade. Oh, and by the way, since we're looking at this 10-minute chart, let me show you guys what separates the quality of my Tom DeMark sequential, or my version of it, from the actual ones. You see these plus signs? These are the deferred 13. Notice how the sequential 13 from this 9 completed, but the sequential 13 from the 9 that took place all the way down here at 4172 continues to be deferred with the plus signs. This is the quality of the code. So thank you, my developers, that did not come cheap to get the code right. So I would love to see somebody else that actually knows what they're doing with the code. So be careful as to what sequential you're using when you're using the free versions. Just a heads up there.
Tone, can I jump in on that really quickly? So one, first of all, very impressive because Pine is a stupidly crazy language. Two, Tyler, just because one, I like to make fun of you of learning TD sequential with Larry Williams on Papyrus, but that you actually did prior to Tone's course make me try to do it by hand. Can you just make a quick comment on that? Because we often talk to Tone, and you've probably heard it about how your indicator is much better. But Ty, can you just, from your perspective of having learned it dinosaur years ago, just kidding, because it was your birthday, sorry, how you see it as better?
Oh yeah, it's much better in a lot of ways. There's not just one or two changes to the way Tone uses this. There's some significant, important changes, particularly having to do with the fact that the standard indicator that was developed from Larry Williams and then put onto Bloomberg by Tom DeMark can go for a very long period of time without showing any kind of numbers because of the way it turns the numbers off, and Tone corrected that. So you always see all of these numbers. That's number one. Number two is the pluses, the deferred completion of various countdowns is very important. But what most people don't understand is it's Tone's ability to add things to the sequential system to draw conclusions. There was nothing in sequential that was saying we could run to 5100. Nothing. That comes from Tone's experience with the way various resistance and support areas work. There was nothing in sequential that said that we were going to break down below that 6,000 barrier, other than Tone's recognition of the geometric shape of that descending triangle. That's not sequential. But when you put those on top of the changes that Tone has made to the sequential system, your accuracy goes up dramatically relative to other people that are just using the regular free version of this. So I think that's what you were talking about, Leah, but it's really unbelievably impressive.
Hats off. And yeah, you were talking about candlesticks more than usual, I felt in your video, but I was sleep deprived. Onward march.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler. So here's that 10-minute chart. I was able to use the sequential 9 and the combo 13 and the fact that we got the reversal candle on the combo 13 to be able to call this the top and attempt to time a short trade. Now, also, 20 minutes earlier during my video, when we had this tail on a 7, I anticipated that we would go higher because I wanted to see the perfected 9 on a 10-minute scale. So those were 2 good calls this morning. Now, here is the unfortunate part this morning. During that short trade that activated a little bit later than would have been ideal, activated at 49.25, I did say, hey, if it's a 10-minute short trade, it's you're only supposed to hold it through a few candles. You take some profit when it fell, over $200. And then I initially had a break-even stop loss, but then I moved the stop loss randomly into the middle of this candle when this candle started to form. I moved it randomly. I didn't really calculate anything. And because, again, I was just doing a video. Now, because I moved it randomly, you can see that the wick of this candle very slightly jumped into where that stop loss was. Now, in reality, if I was actually putting on a trade, I would have thought about where this line would have been. Now, you as a trader also would have thought about it. Some traders might have even just left it at break even. You know, hey, you took a bunch of money and now you're going to hold and pray on the rest of the short. Other traders could have put it lower down the candle. Other traders could have put it right smack in the middle of that candle or slightly higher. Like for me, it was just a random placement. I wanted to take some profit off of calling it right within 10 minutes for a $200 fall on a 10-minute scale. And then I just randomly stuck it here. And it was just unfortunate that the next candle ran right into the stop loss, but it was a theoretical stop loss. In reality, I mean, maybe I would have gotten lucky. Maybe in reality, I would have put it there, or maybe I would have put it lower, or maybe I would have put it exactly where it was. The point is, it doesn't matter. The point is, it was the perfect execution of a trade with defined risk and decent reward, which could have been very quickly realized. So I just wanted to point out that it was just, you know, unfortunate random luck as I stuck that blue line randomly in the middle of that candle, and the next candle ran right into it. Normally, I would calculate the body of this red candle and stick it right above the middle mark, which could have been a little bit higher. I'm assuming by just looking at it, that would have been the reality. That's also what we teach in my class. Okay.
Well, yeah, let me make a couple of comments there, because I was watching as you were doing that and as the candles were forming, and a bunch of observations. Number one, for those that you need to go back and watch and understand what was going on. We just had a move from 4,150 all the way up to 5,100. And this system of sequential was telling you that the end was coming very quickly. Now, Tone was looking for that on that 9 candle. And then when we flipped into the one that ran up to 5,100, he was saying, we need a reversal candle here. Just think of what we're saying. We're saying we just ran $1,000 on one of the most volatile asset classes in history after a period of 4 months of it not moving at all, over and over again, and then finally breaking out above my 4,000 to 4,200 range. 99.99% of all the people watching this last night were saying, Tone is wrong, Tyler's wrong, everybody's wrong, all the bears are wrong. But what Tone was doing is using a trading system that was looking for the precise point at which all of that ammunition, and nobody knew who was buying, but all of that demand was going to come to an end. That's what sequential does. It measures when demand is running out of gas. And who would have guessed that it would have come on such a spectacular fireworks display as we saw last night? And then who would have guessed that Tone, stuck in an airport after his flight is canceled, was sitting there doing the analysis minute by minute and precisely called the top. Now, Tone didn't say it, but I'll say it for him. If Tone had actually taken that trade, I never would have taken that trade. Why? Because I've already said I will never short Bitcoin. 2, I'm out of Bitcoin completely. I'm out of GBTC. I don't really care. We're in a bear market. We're going much lower. All these wiggles, even 1,000 moves just don't impress me. I'm just waiting for it all to turn lower. But for a trader, what Tone would have done is he wouldn't have gotten out of that trade with that profit. He wouldn't have gotten out till the green 3 at about 11 o'clock went above the green 2. I think that's when Tone would have gotten out of the trade. And he might not have gotten out of it at all if he hadn't moved that stop loss down. And he might still be shorted. He needs to explain that himself. But I believe that in real time, if he was sitting in an office making the decisions, he would have ridden all the way through all of that action and might still be short that trade right now, looking for a place to get out. And you could see that the profit would have been much, much bigger than it actually was. We never actually got back up to that blue line after that trade. So what my point is Tony's been looking for 9s. I've been looking for 9s. We've got 9s. We've got weekly 9s. I think this is going to roll over and go much, much lower, except for just what I said in terms of I'm very impressed with its ability not to break down. But I think by the end of this day, we're going to see a lot more weakness. But people need to go back and watch moment by moment as this top was developing to really understand the power of technical analysis in the hands of somebody that really knows what he's doing.
Thank you for that, Tyler. Okay, a couple of things. So I'm watching GBTC. I'm not going to show my screen. So GBTC went all the way up to, I think, like 580 something. My sell limit is actually above that. I'm still anticipating a bit of a run up in the premium. I'm actually curious what that premium is at the moment, because for some reason my broker is showing me a delayed quote, even though as far as I know, I'm paying for real life quotes. But that's what happens when you don't actively trade, like you don't pay attention to that. So I'm getting a delayed quote here as well. So we have to wait like maybe 2 more minutes to see it. I'm dying to look at the S&P 500.
Yeah.
And wow, the candle has turned green on the futures. This is awesome. Now there is going to be a sequential 13 tomorrow coming in, but there is another sequential count already in the background from the latest 9. So there's no reason to really be worried about the daily sequential 13 coming in tomorrow, because you're still on a 5 daily. And the weekly still looks very good. We're only on a 3. I think we're going to challenge the all-time high probably this summer, if not, next week. God knows if Bitcoin rallied, the S&P can do the same, obviously. It was Leah made me look at Palladium yesterday, and that was awesome. Did you see that? I couldn't believe it. What an amazing job Sequential did on Palladium.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. We've been watching it closely. We've got a bunch of people trading it as a hyperwave, and we were looking for a break of the 4, and I think that's what we're looking at here is actually a 5 down in a hyperwave, which could mean that it's going much, much lower.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, on every time frame, Sequential did an amazing job with Palladium. So that was really, really good. Oh, and speaking of hyperwave, go ahead, Leah.
No, go for it.
No, I was going to change topics completely. So go ahead.
Well, so was I. But regarding precious metals, and again, what I made you do yesterday, someone asked about silver and gold, and if I'm allowed to be selfish, which sometimes I absolutely am on this show. If we're able to get to oil, it's very fascinating right now. We actually traded at over $62, and there's a lot of interesting news there, but just it's kind of crazy right now. So it may be fun to check out, or at least people to pay attention to.
Oh yeah, I'm loading oil. I'm not sure silver is going to be that different than gold.
Tyler, offhand, I know you know everything. Is it?
No, silver, gold, and gold mining shares and silver mining shares are all of them broke above long-term moving averages to the upside, but they have not been able to continue. We are completely out of all the precious metals, but we're watching them very, very closely because if the stock market is breaking out to the upside, and with low interest rates, we're beginning to see some commodities moving up. And I think oil falls into that picture. Oil's made back about 50%, a little, not quite 50% of its drop. And it's very similar for lumber and for copper and for zinc and for aluminum and a lot of different things. It's not that different than the precious metals in terms of the drop that they had last year and then this long rebound that they've had in 2019. So from a macro point of view, with the stock market breaking to the upside, with China breaking to the upside, China is up 27% so far this year, twice as much as the S&P. And what that's beginning to say is maybe the growth side of the US stock market, the US economy, and maybe even China, which we've all been worried about, is putting upward pressure on things such as oil prices and commodity prices. With all of this going on, we shouldn't be surprised to see some money leaking out into certain things like we saw last night into Bitcoin. But Bitcoin to me is not the big important issue here. It's the stock market, because you're talking about tens and tens and tens of millions of people that have all their net worth in terms of the retirement accounts in the stock market. If we can be breaking to the upside here, this is very, very good news. And as I said, as of yesterday, I think that's exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah, Ty, just as a really quick follow-up, Tone, just regarding China specifically, if for the Hang Seng, if anyone trades in Hong Kong, they actually entered the biggest bull market after the best quarter since '09. I mean, it was just bananas. It jumped something like almost 2%. It was like 1.8% yesterday.
Yeah. No, that we will need to take a look at that one on a different stream. Hey, I do want to talk about your tweet, Tyler. I mean, my Twitter has been blowing up. You know what bothers me? And I don't know, like, here's the thing, and I'm sure at this point it bothers you as well, Tyler. When people reply saying, oh, I called this perfectly, and then you click on their Twitter profile and they have like 110 followers, right? Not even 1,000 followers, like 100 something followers. And they post charts, but nobody looks at them, right? Like, I'm sorry, like it doesn't matter to me if you called it correctly if no one saw it, because there's always going to be 100 people that are calling everything. No one questions their bad calls, and they're one. And if you have time, like, when was the last time you saw me or Tyler post on somebody else's timeline that we called it correctly? Like, clearly you have way too much free time on your hands, and no one is following you, so you have to do it. Guys, please don't. Unless you have tens of thousands of people watching every call you make, please don't post telling us how right you made a call. Like that really bothers me. I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm being, a little salty right now, but it's just, honestly, it's kind of annoying.
Well, I know what you're saying, but at the same time, the way I look at this whole space is it's all in or all out. Most of the people that are posting aren't in other markets. They're not interested about the stock market or retirement accounts or real estate or the bond market or the currency markets. They're all in or all out. So when it's going against them, they get very vicious because they're losing a lot of money. When it goes in their direction, they're euphoric because all of a sudden, they're the money that they've been losing for the last 14 months to the downside, they're getting a little of it back. I understand that. And so it doesn't really bother me. Most of the people that are real investors and are looking across a broad spectrum of things understand that what you and I are trying to do is we're trying to give our best recommendations based on all kinds of different technical and fundamental indicators across a broad spectrum of things. And so I pretty much ignore it. I think, unfortunately, you've become a target more than Leah and I have, because you've been doing it much longer, but you've also got many, many more followers than we do, which means you've got many, many more trolls than we do.
Right. Yeah, right. And the reason this annoys me so much is because like people have been doing that, like replying to my tweets with how much better they called things than me for years. And 98% of these people no longer exist on Twitter. And that's the annoying part. You know, like, yeah, you're going to call 3 or 4 things right, and then you're going to get 1 or 2,000 followers, and you're going to get eaten alive with every single call you make, and then you're going to be gone. So, like, and this is why, like, it's just like, and people expect you to like reply to them. So that's what I mean. Like every week I see another, you know, Twitter person, you know, reply to my tweets with how good their calls were. And then like within months, that Twitter account doesn't even exist anymore, or they stop posting, or they stop doing videos because they make a couple of bad calls and they get eaten alive and they can't handle the pressure. So just look, try to get your own following just organically. That's the trick. Not replying to other people with how good your particular calls were. I mean, I never did that when I started out. I remember when I first got my 1,000 follower, it was just all organic. That's why it bothers me, because these people they just disappear right after. So it's just focus on your tweets, not other people's tweets.
Yeah, great advice.
Yeah, but Zizo's first. Hey, Zizo, he's the first response.
Yeah, and yeah, good job, Zizo. And and also, like so many YouTubers I called out back in the day, like they're gone. They're not posting in a bear market. They're scared. Anyway, hey, Tyler, so here's your tweet that's becoming very, very popular. It says, Bitcoin hit Tone's $5,100 target. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, calls no change in bear market view. So a lot of people have a huge problem with this. Now, we've been saying for a long time that going up to this zone of 5,000, hold on a second, it's prayer time. I'm in a Muslimish country.
I have lots of questions that you guys are getting in. All right, you're back.
But well, I'll make this real quick. Tyler is right. This does not change the bearish view. If we wait till tonight, we will see that we are right in this green circle at 5,100. It doesn't change anything. Even going all the way to 6,000 doesn't change anything. Even if the low is in, even if we will not go lower, you still need a pullback and a clean higher low. And by clean, I mean, this is not a clean higher low to me. This was a low, what was the low point? 31.48. And this was, this was 31.48. And this low was 33.54. They're way too close for my liking. They were also both supported by a moving average. I do not consider this as a standard trend reversal higher low. But now that we've moved into 5,100, if we pull back and make a substantially higher low in the in the $4,000 to $4,200 area, like basically the area where where this candle currently sits, and we can't have this pullback like tomorrow. It has to be more of a prolonged pullback. I don't want to mess with these arrows, but we're saying if we're pulling back slowly and orderly and establish a low in the low 4,000s, and then we start to go up and we start to break 5,100, I can then start to admit that the bear market low is in, and it's very possible that the bear market is over. But until I see that scenario, I have to assume that the most likely path is two new lows. But also notice how I have a bullish trade in place, right? Just because we're in a bear market doesn't mean there aren't buying opportunities if that's the best trade available. Now, if a shorting opportunity shows up, and it did on a 10-minute scale, but it hasn't yet on a daily scale, I'm happy to take that opportunity as well. Tyler, and then we'll go over to Leah for some questions.
Yeah, very good points. Markets don't go straight up and straight down. They never do. Don't tell me what to buy, tell me when to buy it. Everything that Tone is talking about and that Leah and I talk about is the when part of the question. And if you go back to the drop from 20,000, there were 5 or 6 great opportunities for traders, day traders, and even position or swing traders to buy this bear market. I have said repeatedly that since December of 2017, I don't want anything to do with the long side of this market, only because there's so many other things to be looking at that I'm more interested in, such as the US stock market, precious metals market, the bond market, where most of my clients have 95+% of their interest and of their dollars. Very few of my clients are interested in crypto at all at this point. But Leah and I have been trying as best we can to explain that this asset is no different than every other asset we've ever looked at, which means that in a down market, you get counter trend rallies. We are now in a counter trend rally to the bear market. I said that if we did get above 4,200, Tone would probably be right and would get up between 4,800 and 5,100. That's precisely what's happened. And that's the time, if you've been in this, that you have to step aside, ready for the next down wave of this bear market. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that the next down wave is going to look like the one that Tone's got drawn on this chart. It might very well, but it could also stop back at the 200-day moving average, the orange line at the bottom. And
200
which one's that?
This is the weekly.
That's, oh yeah, the 200 week, sorry, down at the bottom of the chart. And if it did, if it stops above or at that level, that to me could be the end of the down move, the next down move that takes place, but it's not the end of the bear market. We could then run back all the way back up to the same place we are now, or the declining moving average. To me, the important thing is what the trend is. And the trend on this chart that you're looking at right now, look at the blue line coming down from the top. That's the trend of this asset. It's down. Look at the trend of the next moving average moving down. It is down. That means the trend of this asset is down. All we've done is bounced back up to overhead resistance before headed lower again. And until that situation changes, we are in a bear market. So if you want to applaud yourself for holding all the way down from 20,000, and now you got a couple of nickels and dimes back, good for you. And I hope you're right. I hope this is the end of the bear market. I want Bitcoin to go up to 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000. I believe it will, but trying to anticipate based on no facts whatsoever, fundamentally or technically, all kinds of weird charts that show you that this looks like it's some kind of a bottom. And then you go back into history and say, look what happened last time. To me, I'm uninterested in that. I want the facts to be, where is the price relative to the movement of previous prices, moving averages, support and resistance lines. And right now, what Tone just summarized is exactly the way we are looking at this, which is we got a little bounce that didn't come near the overhead resistance at 6,000 and is struggling to hold the 5,000 mark. And I believe will struggle to even hold the $4,600 moving average before headed lower. That's my assumption based on a very long period of looking at all these charts. So right now, let's see what happens. Don't get ahead of yourself. I hope those people that are bullish turn out to be correct, because that's what I want to happen with this asset class for much bigger reasons than making money in it, having to do with a much bigger picture of where we are in the world economy. But having said all of that, unfortunately, I think we're headed back lower.
Yeah, I'm pretty much with you, Tyler. I think it's going to be a struggle holding that 4,600 moving average. Leah, let's throw up some questions. I do have silver up. I do have oil up. We can talk about them. And there's not much to say about the S&P 500 other than buy it. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah.
Before I do get selfish with WTI, throw up GBTC. And we'll keep Bitcoin conversation a little bit more and just a little bit more of an analysis.
I mean, I'm very disappointed in the premium. It's not where I wanted it to be. I thought that the premium can run up to 30%. That's where I actually kind of set my exit, my limit order sell. I anticipated that there could be a short squeeze within GBTC and the premium, or at least like euphoria. It probably, if this move happened during New York market hours, I think the premium would have broken 30% and I would have had an amazing exit on GBTC, because we had already corrected going into market open. It did not create euphoria and a liquidity squeeze in GBTC, which is unfortunate because the traditional markets are closed 80% of the day and or like 70% of the day. So it kind of sucks. I'm very disappointed that the premium is only about 19% right now, which is why I haven't taken my profit yet off of GBTC. So I'm still hanging on to that, but maybe at some point today, I will take the profit regardless. My trade is certainly in the money in full on GBTC. I already took some profit at 545. And right now you can see GBTC at 559, which is kind of lower than, this is a delayed quote. I see it different on my broker. I see it as a 570 right now at my broker. So this is a delayed quote. But yeah, it's unfortunate that this move didn't happen during trading hours in New York.
Tyler, what are you seeing? Also gonna throw it to you, partner. How would you trade this? Would you, but if you were in it like Tone, what would you think about your trade, your position?
Well, because I think we're still in a bear market, I think this is an opportunity to get out of any cryptos that you're in, including Bitcoin, and that includes GBTC. I'd be looking for an exit, and I wouldn't be. I don't think there's much more upside here. I did build a case for how we could get upside, but with the evidence we're looking at right at this moment, this pullback is taking place just the way it should off of a 9. And therefore, on a weekly basis, we could get a 1 to 4 week pullback here. And that will shrink all of these premiums and the rest of it. So I'd be on Tinder hooks a little bit if I was looking for a place to get out, I think last night was a great opportunity. But Tone's right. It's a shame that you couldn't trade GBTC. That's why we need ETFs from a lot of exchanges around the world in the crypto world, so that they could be traded 24 hours a day until we get all of the technicals worked out for Bitcoin and other things. But in any case, I'd be looking to step aside as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
well, did you see that?
No, I was gonna say I'm with you, Tal. I actually just altered my GBTC sell order. I actually increased my quantity. I'm still not exiting all of it, but I'm exiting 50% of what I have in GBTC, 50% of my quantity, and I did lower my sell limit. I lowered it to something reasonable, so all I would need is a little bit of a pop in the premium at current prices, and I'll let you guys know if it fills. I have maybe, I know I said I wanted to keep this video to an hour, but we'll probably go a maximum of 30 more minutes. And so if my GBTC order fills, I'll tell you what that price actually was.
Well, congratulations, though, on being able to step aside of some of the Bitcoin from the conference. I mean, that's a big benefit. And you know, Leah and I, we've been holding on from 3,100 to certain Bitcoin positions that people have paid us in, and we've been getting out between 4,000 and 4,200. I wish we had waited a little bit longer for this pop, but it worked out perfectly for the Understanding Bitcoin conference. So congratulations on that one.
Thank you. Okay, real quick, there on the S&P, there's, oh, you know what? Let me go to a 10-minute S&P chart. Yeah, I have delayed quotes there. So on a 10-minute S&P chart this morning, so that was the opening candle. Yeah, this is not, that's not actually ideal, but this is a classic 10 a.m. reversal. We fell at the open, moved up into 10 a.m., and now we're pulling back kind of hard. I don't like this candle at all on a 10-minute frame. It looked like we were having a very good open. It's pulling back a little bit. I would anticipate this to reverse. I'm still bullish. I mean, the sequential is bullish. The 13th coming tomorrow. We're on a 4 of 9 daily. The weekly is very clean. I got to trust my technicals and be bullish here in general on the S&P. I am not nervous about the S&P yet. All right, Leah, let's go over to you for some questions.
Got it. Awesome. Well, what's interesting also, if you throw up, well, you don't have to now because we are going pretty late, and Tyler, our clients are getting mad at us. So yeah, I mean, so we're a little bit lower, you know, but also European stocks are climbing, like, sorry, there's the sterling suffering on more Brexit confusion. Treasuries are advancing, oil's steadying. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. If you want to have fun, so we won't do the WTI, and someone in the live chat said, talk oil to me. So I will stop being obnoxious about that. Throw up Lyft. It just IPO'd, and you will see what happened.
Okay.
Yeah,
obviously a big deal.
It's down to $66. I'm actually thinking of stepping in and buying some of it.
Let's find out.
When did it IPO?
2 days ago, and it was supposed to come out at 72. It came out at 80. It ran up to 85, but then that was it. And then it began to dump, and now it's down to 66, below what anybody had paid for it.
They had also a weird auction, by the way.
In general, these kinds of IPOs go significantly lower before they start to reverse.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would not be jumping in on Lyft yet.
Yeah, Google did it, and
Facebook, no,
Facebook
I'm not
did
sure
it.
if Google did it. I know Facebook did, and things like GoPro went straight down, but Lyft isn't GoPro. Let me see here.
It's LYFT.
Oh, I'm curious what this is because it bounced beautifully off of a 9.
Lufthansa. The
I've
airline.
never heard.
Good. I flew him yesterday. Oh, today.
Oh, it's an airline.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
German.
so the reason why this chart is up is because in my last workshop, I randomly asked people to name a stock and then we kind of look at it. And this was the one that was randomly named in my last workshop. And you can see right here a beautiful sale on a 9 and a beautiful, reversal candle here. Granted, this could have hit your stop loss, but I would be comfortable long this airline right now. What are we looking at? Lyft? What's the ticker? I'm assuming it's just Lyft.
LYFT.
Yeah.
And setting the stage for Uber, which is a much more massive IPO. So they were in a race. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, look at that one.
Yeah, so I would not. I wouldn't chase this. I'd wait another week. I would be more comfortable buying it like at 88 than I am now. Let's just put it that way. I wouldn't chase it on a 10-minute scale if you're a day trader, right? So if you're a day trader and you wanted to pick it up this morning, maybe you had your chance to do that.
Yeah, you had a couple of 9s.
No, it would have been tricky to buy it this morning because I don't trade in the first 15 to 20 minutes of market open, and it's been kind of flat. Like I wouldn't chase this. I don't like it here. I think it can go down to like 48, 49. I'd be comfortable buying it at like 48, 49, maybe in the mid 50s. But I wouldn't buy this in the 60s. I think it can drop even lower, especially after I've seen so many IPOs do nothing but go down. And it's just a way, because remember, an IPO is no different than a shitcoin being listed on an exchange. The insiders want to get out, right? Like it's going to go down. And the really smart insiders are dumping enough of it because they know they can buy it cheaper later. So you're really like, if you're a retail investor trading IPOs, you're gonna get wrecked. Like just wait, just be patient.
So if I could jump in on that really quickly, just having raised institutional capital, but also just this divide, which I hope people understand, which I find really interesting about Lyft and then Uber following suit, is just like when you IPO, yeah, absolutely, it's a liquidation, right? It's a liquidation event. We've talked about this a lot for ICOs and also just in general what was happening with Bitmain, which epically failed, right? All these different things. But what I find really interesting when you IPO and that everybody should understand is that public markets for the most part are and then tell me if you guys disagree, but myopically focused on the short term, right? Like it's for the most part, they want their dividends, right? And that's why you have all these stock buybacks. They expect companies to return the cash to the investors rather than really, invest in these long-term projects for the most part. That's where private equity will be okay with my oil and gas. And yes, I love O&G. But again, they're regularly spending more than 100% of their profits on dividends and buybacks. But venture capitalists are like the exact opposite for the most part, right? The structure of a VC is that you're hoping that 1 out of 10 in your fund is actually going to return and then be able to actually like fill your fund. So actually, they invest in businesses with massive losses, terrible unit economics, almost no path to profitability for the most part, and just even sell less than desirable products.
Wow, look at Bitcoin going. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, I'll shut up.
No.
I'll just say it'll be.
You're exactly right, Leah.
It'll be interesting if this
Bitcoin drops.
Here's an example. All right, I'm done. Go. Bitcoin. And yes, it is.
Yeah, so Bitcoin is really dropping here. And yeah, I mean, if anyone took that short trade that I was talking about this morning and that trade didn't fully hit that stop loss and you're still in that short, you're doing well. I would expect this thing to just go lower at this point. And it's going to test that $4,600 moving average support on the daily and the weekly.
Money management question on Bitcoin then, that we got from the live chat. And it's a, hey guys, quick question. Since it's very hard to call the exact bottom or be able to buy at the exact bottom, doesn't it make sense to just start buying weekly and forget about it for the long term?
No. Stop it.
Tyler was gonna say that.
Yourself. Look in the mirror and slap yourself. Stop it. All you have to do is look at what Tone just showed you about the sequential system. That will tell you where the bottom is. Then you overlay on top of that Consensio. That will tell you where the bottom is. This is not rocket science. You just have to understand that a trend, every trend down will come to a bottom. There's a million ways of telling when it's gotten to that bottom. Stop making it complicated. Yes, dollar cost averaging makes a lot of sense, but but everybody is getting this dollar cost averaging thing mixed up. What dollar cost averaging means in the real world of investing is you put X amount of dollars continually into a market, regardless if it's going up or down. You don't try to call a bottom or a top. You put $500 a month into Apple stock every month for the rest of your life. That's dollar cost averaging. It means you completely ignore the trends. That's a different story. What people are talking about here is, Tyler, you said 14 months ago that we had topped in the Bitcoin and the crypto market. Correct. Therefore, the trend should start moving down, which it did, and is still moving down as we sit here today. So the question is, I agree that nobody can tell where the absolute bottom is before it occurs. Even Hyperwave cannot tell you exactly where the bottom is going to be. But at $5,000 or at $4,000 or even at $3,000, those are huge percentage differences in the amount of money you've got. If you've got money at $6,000, like so many of you did in Bitcoin, and you did not listen to Tone and myself saying that we were going to drop down sharply below 6,000, and you held on to that, you lost 50% of your money, which means twice your buying power when you finally get down to the bottom. Be patient. Wait for the trend to change, not the hourly trend, not the daily trend, not even the weekly trend, the trend. The trend is measured by the long-term moving averages. When they stop going down, you will get signals, and then you can start putting some money into the market. And you put a little bit in. You don't put 100%. You put 25% in at 3,000. Put another 25% at 2,500. Put 10% at 2,000. Put another 10% at 1,500. Now you've got half of your money in, and you're still going down. But what's happening is you're getting closer and closer to the zero line, wherever that's going to be. And nobody knows where it is. But don't start doing it at $12,000 or 10,000 or 8,000 or 6,000 or 4,000. It's way too early. You're still in a downtrend.
All right, I'll take a look at Tesla. Thank you for that, Tyler. Look, I'm actually okay with people dollar cost averaging. I mean, that article that Ugly Old Goat wrote is really good. Look, if you're not a trader, but you love Bitcoin, you believe in Bitcoin, I'm okay with it. Like, as long as, you know, you don't go overboard with how much it is. with how much you're putting into it. Real quick, I took the exit on GBTC. I did not like that candle. I wish I saw it earlier. I would have gotten a slightly better exit. To those that were wondering how I had my GBTC sales set up, so at around, I don't know, after my video this morning from the airport, it was middle of the night, New York time. I put in a limit sell order at $6.24. I think it would have been hit had the pump happened during market open hours. Could have even gone higher than that. I then lowered it after market opened. I lowered it to 589, and that wasn't getting hit. We only got up to 580. But when we started to drop on that candle, I took the exit at 570, like 569, 570. I took the GBTC exit, which is the current price of GBTC. So I didn't sell my entire position. I sold half of what was left because I already had sold some. And I'll probably exit the other half at some point today, but I did not like that 10-minute candle that you guys were watching. And therefore, I took the exit, and we already sold all the Bitcoin that we took in from ticket sales for understanding Bitcoin. I mean, I am taking this pop seriously. I don't think it has that much momentum to go. Now, we can take a look at Tesla. I didn't realize I was on a 10-minute chart, and I'm like, oh, shit, what a perfect top call on a daily. But that's not daily, that's 10 minutes. And that was at the end of the day on yesterday, I guess, Monday. Let's go to the daily chart of Tesla. The daily chart of Tesla actually bothers me a little bit. I don't like it. Now, overall, Tesla is still looking good on a weekly scale. On a weekly scale, Tesla is looking pretty good, but you're at the bottom of the range. So this is a good opportunity to buy into Tesla if you took, some good profits at some point above, like in the 350 area. This is decent. I think this is a good bounce. I will wait till next week. I will wait for a green 2 weekly above a green 1, and on a daily chart. On a daily chart, you're still kind of bullish, but you're in a bearish posture all year long. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. The time frames are all over the place. I'm leaning slightly bullish, but I would not be swing trading Tesla right now. I don't trade things where I'm slightly leaning in one direction over another. I trade things with 80 to 90% confidence on that trade. And I am not 80 to 90% confident in anything in Tesla. I will say that it did reverse off a reversal candle, and there was a 9, and you're now on a 5 of 9. So on a daily scale, it's a little bit late to enter the trade. On a weekly scale, you're a little bit early to enter the bullish trade. But if the market goes up and you get a weekly green 2 above a green 1, you're going to conflict with your daily 9. So your time frames are contradicting each other, and I just don't like it. So I would stay away from Tesla. If you're short Tesla, there's reasons to stay short. If you're long Tesla, there's reasons to stay long. I'm very neutral on Tesla. I think I've been this way for several weeks now.
Tyler, quick comment, and then I think.
Yeah, a number of our clients bought Tesla off of that 5 candle, only because it's a phase line right there along with that blue moving average. And my assumption was that on the 6 red candle, we would reverse off of that break of the trend line. The fact that we didn't take out the green dotted line, the setup trend, was important to me. So we bought that 6 candle, and now we've got a gap up on the green 1. My idea is a good run up to the 300 area where you get some overhead resistance. I'd love it if it could get above that, because then we could test the highs at 380 again. One of these times, I think Tesla's going to break the 380 high and keep on going. But Tone is exactly right. When you look at this chart, it's very neutral. basically I'm not a trader except in my own account. And Leah and I have been playing this off of these extremes when you get too low or too high. And so far, that's working out pretty well.
Thanks, Ty. All right.
All right.
What do you think, Tone?
That's I think we have to call it. Like I'm looking at oil. There was a nice 1 to 4 candle correction of a 9, and now we're 100% bullish. I mean, you have this Fibonacci at 63.72, but the weekly oil, the daily oil is fully bullish, and the weekly oil is fully bullish, but we're running into a moving average resistance plus the Fibonacci resistance. So you're also inside of a 13. I mean, it's hard for me to believe why oil is continuously going up, but my fundamental opinion on oil is completely irrelevant. What matters is the technicals, and the technicals are bullish across the board.
Absolutely, and I think this is a very important industry in the United States. And you'll notice that in the down cycle from October to December, that's precisely when the US stock market was falling. And it is precisely at that bottom where we started moving up in the US stock market and moved up in oil. I think because oil is such an important part of the US, and the US is now the biggest exporter of oil and LNG and natural gas in the world, even though we don't have as much crude oil as even Venezuela or Saudi Arabia does, we are net exporters for the first time in almost a century. And therefore, if we think the stock market is breaking out to the upside, I would fully expect to see oil prices continue the way Leah has been talking about it. And technically that's happening right now. We do need to turn around these longer term moving averages to the upside. And until that happens, I'm not fully bullish oil, but we're getting there week by week.
Yeah, and Tone's talked about this before, as have I. Thanks, Ty. I just believe in the fundamentals. So thank you guys for pushing this on every day. Is that there's sometimes, and there's kind of conventional wisdom, people believe that there's an inverse relationship between equities and oil prices. But Tone, I have one more question for you, CME, and then I think we can call it, but that's Bitcoin. Tone, we closed 43.90 CME gap. One left is 35.70. Eventually every gap on CME is closed. Thoughts? Just a CME question.
What do you mean by CME? Do you mean the CME index? What do you mean by CME? The futures? What do you mean?
Futures, I assume.
Every like down gap is closed.
We closed at 43.90 gap. One left is 35.7.
You have to make your questions. Sorry, you have to make your questions very specific. CME is a publicly traded company. You can't just say CME. I'm going to pull up the equity chart of the CME company. Like, you guys have to be very, very specific.
Well, I assume it's Chicago Mercantile Exchange, but yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Do you want to call it? You want one more question? What would you like?
Yeah, if the Bitcoin futures and traditional markets have closed all of the downward gaps, that creates more selling pressure for lower prices, because once the gaps close, professional traders have fully hedged their screwed up positions.
Ty, last thoughts?
Only I want to hear, Tone, did you get a flight yet to Malta?
I think so. It's a little weird here. I didn't get a full confirmation, but I think I'm set. I think I'm flying out. So I got to wake up at 5 a.m. again, and I think I'm flying out. I got to be up at 5, and I fly out 7 something in the morning. So I'll be in Malta tomorrow.
Oh, great. Yeah, I fly out tomorrow. I'll be there the next day. So,
and yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Leah.
Well, one good thing for all of us is the dollar strengthening.
Yep.
Yahoo! And we'll all be on Malta. All right.
Terrific. Good job,
Enjoy
Tone.
Istanbul. Yeah, brilliant.
All right, guys, thank you. Oh, we forgot to look at silver, but it's bearish. Like it tops on a
Technicals.
9. The weekly silver tops on a 9, and we're now on a 6 of 9, and we're only one moving average left holding up the price. Then all you have is the setup trend line, and then silver is in serious, serious trouble. Probably gonna go to new multi-decade lows here. I don't see any reason. I mean, talk about a perfect. That triangle, and pretty much I can like almost extend this to
Broke the
this.
triangle, came back and tested it. Now it's going lower. The big thing to me are the moving averages. It really looks bad. Gold really looks bad, and mining shares really look bad. I'm trying to get any client that's still in it out. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I mean, silver looks very ugly. It's one of the ugliest charts that I've seen in a while. I don't know what the silver bars are thinking because they continue to be wrong for over 10 years in a row, and they continue to preach buy silver. And I think silver is going to go sub $10. When then I might be interested.
Yeah, my target's $8, and I may or may not want to buy it at that level.
Yeah, pretty bad. All right, one last peek. Bitcoin, it's still holding, but we're gonna go ahead and leave it there. And Leah, thank you so much for joining. Don't forget, guys, understanding Bitcoin. Check it out. Come join us in Malta. We still have a few seats left, and hopefully we will see you guys there.
Hey, Tone, stop messing with the lira while you're there.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the lira, Tyler, that's what I want to talk to you about. Can we take some time after Malta? Can we do a deep dive into the lira and if it was or wasn't in a hyperwave and what's coming next? Because I've been in Turkey talking to people and they're very curious.
Absolutely. We've got a bunch of clients that know a lot about it. Some of them that live in Istanbul. That'll be very interesting from a hyperwave point of view.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, after Malta, we will do a deep dive into the lira. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see. Actually, I have no idea if I'm going to do any streams the rest of the week, but there will be a live stream for the conference, so you guys can watch what we do. Bye, guys.
And we'll see you in Malta. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.